I think in general, like, okay, so locally, I do like sit downs where if somebody needs help with Bitcoin, they want to learn something, I'll sit down. I was sitting down with somebody literally 2 days ago. It'd be really cool. Actually, I really hope he's watching this, because we had a just the best conversation, and I miss this because it's like people are wary to go out and chat and everything right now. Um, but man, it energized the hell out of me because I sat down with this guy. I said, you know what? Like we got through like the practical part of, okay, I need to learn this, and then we just got into like one-on-one basic conversation. I said, you know what? Like this is getting into Bitcoin has changed who I am as a person. I look back into to like 2015. So again, like Americans, sorry, I'm excluding you from this, but there was a Canadian election happening in 2015, and there was the incumbent conservative prime minister, and then there was this incoming like the opposition was Justin Trudeau, the liberal leader, and I was very, very liberal at that point. Like so much so, like I was incessant on social media, just posting, and I was like, forgive me, I was a year into Bitcoin at this point, but so most of my like left leaning tendencies were social issues because I was like, everybody should just have like a fair crack of it at everything. Equality. What I learned later, equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. And so as I got into Bitcoin, and as I like, went from this super left leaning person, I started to look at certain conservative values, especially in relation to equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome. And I kind of realigned myself, and I went through this almost like awakening of changing, not understanding where my values were coming from and what could actually fix the problems that I saw in the world. I didn't necessarily change my values, but I just understood better the systemic problems that I saw and what could possibly fix them. And as stupid, not to you guys as it sounds, but like to any outsider listening to this, I see Bitcoin as a solution to many of those problems because you have to start from the foundation before you can start building towers in the sky. And our foundation is fucking crumbling right now, and I until we fix it, I don't see a way out.
Absolutely. And I think that if people, instead of spending their time going out and protesting for communism and socialism, which is a horrific idea, but I'm not going to get into that. They should just spend their time on Bitcoin Twitter. Not only are they going to make a lot more money, but it's actually going to help their lives. Unlike socialism, Marxism, and communism, because that is a horrific or horrendous idea, but I'm not going to get into that right now.
So I totally agree with
read,
that. Yeah.
Have you read
Max.
Bitcoin and Black America?
I haven't, but I'm from Venezuela, so I know what communism is like, and it's terrible. It's a horrific. Man, we went from the fourth GDP in the world in the 1950s.
Yeah.
Oh, that's shout out to that book.
Bitcoin and Black America. So Isaiah Jackson, he epitomizes, in my view, the transformation, the process. Getting into Bitcoin, he changed everything in his life. He changed his diet. He changed his exercise. He changed his relationship. And he went from, he described himself as being a guy who was, 1 foot in gangland, and on the edge of social complete, being a pariah, if not worse. And Bitcoin got into his head, and he went through a metamorphosis. And now he's the guy. It's an unbelievable story, and it's a great book, for that aspect to it. And so I just, I agree with this idea that it has the ability to metamorphose somebody into a person who is when you're saving money, you achieve individual sovereignty, don't you? You're independently wealthy, with the emphasis on independence. You don't need to do shit that you don't want to do because you're in debt or because you are being coerced. because you've got unconfiscatable wealth, which is your fuck you money, and you can walk away. That's the greatest power anybody has. It's a superpower. The power to walk away. If you don't like it, doesn't smell right, get the fuck out. You have that prerogative because you've got unconfiscatable wealth.
So who here has read The Sovereign Individual?
I have the book. Does that count?
I mean, I feel like the biggest thing with the book is like these technologies like cryptocurrencies are going to give individuals the ability to exit, the ability to be free of jurisdiction, and that's going to change the game.
You know what?
And I just feel like that's exactly what Max is talking about there.
I'm going to add to that, CK. What I've noticed is that people when they come on my podcast, the people that understand Bitcoin the most without having to explain it to them are people in third world countries where their currency has high inflation. People in the West see it as like a speculative asset. People in third world countries, you don't need to explain it to them. They get it right off the rip. They're like, where can I buy some? Like immediately, right? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Here you have.
They're also skeptical of getting scammed, but yeah.
Like, Chris, what are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like, here you have to you have to get people to unlearn something that they've learned, and to your point, because like the U.S. dollar has this power that it has, it makes it incredibly difficult to get the point across that the money is bad. Like it like that's what it is, that challenge, and this is why, at least for me anyways, that this is why it's much easier to just explain to somebody, unfortunately, number go up, because that's the way to get to something that they care about, and then you can start to give them the information once they're interested.
I think you're pointing, you're on an excellent point there. I think to add to that, I think it's different from Nico. You were talking about people in jurisdictions where there's hyperinflation. It's very easy to explain to somebody, hey, there's a currency where no one has the control to inflate it, and you can send it and use it wherever you like across the globe. Instant. Okay, I get it. Great. Can I use it? With somebody that is in a jurisdiction, basically anywhere else in the world, in like a first world country, what they're going to get is, because they're told things are great, right? Stock market's at all-time highs. Why the fuck aren't you happy? Like, that's what people hear. They're like, things should be good for me, but I feel like things are not great. Things are harder. And so if you tap into that, if you can say, listen, have you noticed when you go to get groceries, it is way more fucking difficult to like stock your fridge? Like, you spend $100 of groceries and you got 2 bags. Like, what's that going to do for you? And then you start diving down that rabbit hole of what's actually happening. Why is your money not going as far? And if you can, again, it's a long rabbit hole to go down. You can't even really do it in a single conversation unless somebody gives you hours of their time. But you can start diving down, like, listen, like, you are getting a piece of the pie with every paycheck, but the pie keeps growing and your piece of the pie keeps shrinking. And so you can buy less. There's a limited number of services and goods out there, and you can buy less and less of them with your paycheck. And the newly printed money, like the trillions that you just saw printed for COVID, guess what? That $1,200 paycheck doesn't mean jack shit, because way more of it went to the elites that get to decide what to do with it rather than yourself. And as long as your piece of the pie keeps shrinking, you keep getting fucked by the people that get to print that money. So do you want a way out? Here's the door, and it's called Bitcoin.